Khan, Shalom. I want to start off with giving our praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahshai Bashim and Kakadash. Dawan to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone Shalom to the Ophelek. Khan, this second Timothy's chapter 1 and verse 7. For Yahweh had not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. You see, so the Most High didn't give us a spirit to be scared, man, to be fearing things, man. You know, he gave us the spirit of strength, power, love, you know, that you love one another, and of a sound mind, so that you like you thinking straight, basically not being double-minded, you know, as well as you know, having your thoughts cleared, you know, letting everything be done in decency and in order, you know, having no ill intentions or ill will towards a brother, you know. Let me get that real quick in James. James chapter 1 and verse 19. Wherefore, my brethren, Slakia, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. You see, so that's the characteristics of a man of the Lord, you know. You swift to hear, you slow to speak, and you slow to wrath. You see, verse 20. For the wrath for the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of the Most High. You see, so, and that's true, man. You know, because wrath, what it does is you get so angry that you stop thinking straight. You know, and that's not having a sound mind. You know, that's not the spirit of Yahweh Shemashah. The Most High doesn't deal with that kind of spirit. That's emotional, man. That's the spirit that these females be having. You know. So, verse 21. Wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any be a hearer of the word, and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself, and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. You see, so be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only. Don't only hear, but also apply the scriptures, man. You know, also apply the scriptures. Salakia. Yeah. So I was burning some incense anyway. So that's the spirit that you're supposed to be having, man. You know, in Proverbs, you should also have the spirit of being disciplined. You know, have it that's the spirit of Yahweh Shemashah, man. Having a balance, like the scripture says. Also, let me read this real quick. Proverbs 11 and verse 1. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord Yahweh Shemashah, but a just weight is his delight. You see, so you should have everything in decency and in order, and balance it out, man. Balance it out good. Verse 2. When pride cometh, then cometh shame, but with the lowly is wisdom. You see, so when pride cometh, then comes shame, man. You know, but I actually didn't want that, but it doesn't matter. Let's continue. I'm looking for that scripture. Count this, Proverbs chapter 25 and verse 28. He that had no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls, you see. So if you if you have no discipline, you're basically like a city without walls. You're weak. If you have no discipline, that's why you should um, have discipline, man. Build it. You know, discipline builds itself by keeping your flesh under subjection. And how do you do that? By reading the scriptures as well as exercising. Scripture says bodily exercise profited little, but it profits. You see, it profits little because in comparison to the spirit, the spirit, it profits more when you exercise in the spirit. You read, you study, you know but it still profits. And if you put those two hand in hand, that will be the ultimate combo to be disciplined, man. you know this is Galatians chapter 5 and verse 16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that you would. You see, so it's a constant battle, man. Your flesh versus your spirit. It's a constant battle. Your flesh wants to eat candy. Your flesh wants to eat all kind of junk food, all kind of madness that's not good for you. But your spirit wants to do better, and your spirit wants to eat the things that are healthy for your body, so that you can feel better also. And you can properly function. You know. So it's a constant battle, man. You know. Because your flesh wants to do one thing and your spirit wants to do another. You know? First Timothy chapter 4 and verse 8. For bodily exercise profited little, but godliness is profitable unto all things, having promise of the life that now is and of that which is to come. You see, so it does profit. Bodily exercise profited little. That's why Slakia. That's why if you focus on the spirit and the flesh, it will be a hand-in-hand combo, man. It will be a combo breaker, basically. You know, yeah, man. Let me get the scripture in Ecclesiasticus, because if you love yourself, you would take care of yourself, man. Sirach chapter 30 and verse 25. A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet. You see, so another one, verse 14. Better is the poor being sound and strong of constitution than a rich man that is afflicted in his body. Health and a good estate of body are above all gold, and a strong body above infinite wealth. There is no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of the heart. You see, death is better than a bitter life or continual sickness. You see, so showing you how important it is to take care of yourself, your body, man, which is your temple, which is the temple of the Most High. You see? But not only taking care of your temple, also take care of the ministry, man. Feed the sheep, do what you're supposed to do in the spirit. Make your videos, study enough, read a chapter a day. I need to do that again, reading a chapter a day, because that was very beneficial for me, man. I start knowing scriptures that I haven't known yet, and that also levels you up. That also makes you better, makes you a better teacher, you know. Focus on spiritual things, man, because that is what's gonna ultimately profit uh, uh, everything, man. Your flesh, you can put all kind of time and energy into your flesh, but if you sick for a week and you stop training for a week, you lose all that progression that you had. You see. So anyway, this Matthew chapter 6 of verse 19. Lay not up for yourself treasures upon earth, where moth and rust do it corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. Right. So don't lay up for yourself treasures upon earth, man. You wanna have that new brand new Lamborghini, that new Mercedes, that new house. You put your trust in those kind of things instead of Yahweh Shemashai. Those things won't be there when you die, man. You can't take those things with you to heaven. Verse 20. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth or nor rust do corrupt, and where thieves do not break through and steal. Right. Focus on spiritual things, man, because no one can take those blessings away from you that you work so hard for. Those treasures that you stored up, that credit that you stored up in heaven, because you are doing spiritual things, such as feeding the sheep, taking care of the brotherhood, being a brother, you know. Anyway, with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yashai Bashim Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstone. Shalom to the overleg of this video. I said the financial.